Hello and welcome to Mint. In today's edition of From the Newsroom, we have with us Rebello, who will discuss about and we will discuss about the latest RBI guideline on banning new credit and debit cards for international use. This is after Indian customers started complaining about their credit cards being misused on international sites fraudulently. And based on that complaints and media reports, RBI came with a couple of guidelines on Thursday night saying that you cannot use your credit cards and debit cards for international transactions, and banks have to do real-time monitoring, etc. And they have also said that if your debit and credit card has been used internationally recently, and if it is magnetic strip card, then these cards have to be replaced by chip-based cards. We have with us Rebello to discuss the implication of this from the bank's perspective also, and how it will impact the customers.
I think from the bank's perspective, clearly, I mean, these cards, the chip-based cards are more expensive. Right. Magnetic cards, because of the volumes, because India has about 333 million cards as we speak now. Okay. Most of them debit cards. I guess more than 90% of them are debit cards. Right. Small percentage credit card. But the point is, almost all of them are magnetic cards, and okay, because of the sheer volume that banks are opening accounts, they're giving out these debit cards. There are companies which make them for cheap. Just to give you an idea of the difference between the cost, to make a debit card, it costs about 10 rupees. But
that is magnetic strip.
With the magnetic strip or a credit card. But if you use a chip-based card, which is more expensive, it's costing about 50 to 70 rupees. What it means that if the bank has to now change from a magnetic card to a chip-based card, it has to spend that 60 or 40 odd rupees extra, which it may recover from the customer. For the customer, this means that it could be they'll have to pay it from their pocket if the bank doesn't wish to pay. Banks for now are being very circumspect. They're saying, obviously they're not saying that we will charge from the customer. They're saying probably HSBC has come on record saying that we will not take it from the customers. Right. But it remains to be seen, because larger banks, for example HDFC, which has the highest amounts of credit cards, mostly magnetic, if they want to shift towards a chip-based cards, whether they will charge their customers that extra 50 bucks.
But then, do they have any other option? Because it's a regulation. I mean, RBI is mandating it. I mean, if they are not giving it, then
no, they have to give it. Whether they'll charge the customer or no is the question. Just to give an idea of what is the difference in security, a magnetic chip-based can be cloned very easily if you have a reader, because the information data is stored in that magnetic strip. Right. If you have the reader, you can just clone it, put it into another card and use that card. Right. In a chip-based card, the information is encrypted. So even if you have a reader, it's very difficult to clone it. There is also another card with chip and a pin base. So right, I mean, that is the most difficult to clone, because you need to have the pin also. I mean, if you in some way get through the encryption, you'll have to have the pin. Right. So the RBI guideline now makes it very secure. What they've also said is most of us don't use it internationally. Many of us buy it online for the international transaction, but most of us don't travel abroad as frequently. So if you don't need an international, why give them an international card? Give the customer a choice. If he wants a debit card which only to be used domestically, why not? Also, you could probably have a limit to how much you can spend per card, which I guess some banks are already doing. Most of them are already doing. Debit cards already have a limit. Credit card, probably they could be more stricter on the limit. That's what they are.
Is that not saying that you take your international card on your own risk?
Probably. Probably banks could turn around and say, you asked for international, so you should be more careful. Right. But the fact now is that customers also have to be a little bit more responsible if they don't need it. Just like a credit card, if you know that you're paying that much interest on a credit card, so you go on buying things and as if there's no tomorrow, just because the bank has given you a limit. If you just go on buying those things, you'll have to be ensure that you have to pay it back. So
this transactions that happen, a lot of, I mean, India is an aspiring country, and Indians are transacting more and more on international sites like Amazon. I mean, if they're buying an Apple iPad,
Right.
we have to register with Apple.
Right.
So what happens to those sites? I mean, if these cards are not international, I mean, they have to ask for it.
They'll have to go to the bank, ask for a card. So besides the cost, it's also tedious for the bank to go and ensure that the customer who has asked for it gets it in time. They have to courier it. So the cost, all of the cost could be up to maybe 150 rupees. So on a whole, it's a costly affair for banks and probably for our customers as well.
I also understand that this is a kind of way that RBI is putting pressure on those international sites, saying that, you know,
Yeah,
upgrade
probably
your
this is
security.
how the world is going, and with Indian customers also being more savvy, like you said, tech savvy. Probably with these cards, the RBI is sending out a message saying that okay, we have got a system in place. Now it's your turn. Ball is in your court.
Right. Thank you, Joel.
Thanks.
With this, we conclude today's from the newsroom. For more, please log on to www.livemint.com. Thank you.